morning, and to the hobby farmer. I mean, we started our markets in 1997. I never could dream what happened in this room today could happen in 2010. So it's wonderful. Right from the beginning, we had a Chef at Market program, and last night you tasted the impact of connecting chefs to a different kind of food. Who enjoyed the food last night? I thought it was remarkable, but the best reward was Chef Sam's face, because he was so proud of what he did. And so when we talked to him before the reception, he was beaming. And he's Egyptian. You know, American hotels are really a little UNs, if you've never noticed. And he focused on the lamb, because of course he would know a lot about lamb, and said how delicious it was. So I was thrilled. Jon Stewart has a word for the morning activity. He calls it a cup of sadness. When you get up in the morning, have your cup of coffee, and read the newspaper, there's so much bad news. Well, today, I think we have a cup of joy here, and it's nice to see a difference. What I did today, I've never actually done a presentation like this, and so it's a little bit, I feel a little risky to me and a little different, but what everybody, farmers markets have entered the mainstream in the sense that in direct marketing and in among young farmers and in the new world of sustainable agriculture, they're old, certainly ancient, but they're new, and as I like to say these days, we are not the only answer, but we are part of the solution. And if we had not had a farmers market movement, which now is, maybe you could say it was 30 years old or 40 years old, I don't think anybody would have been able to imagine a different kind of food that we have today. Because you don't have to imagine it. You can go, you've been able to learn about it, and people have been able to produce it, and we've been able to create a different kind of agriculture because we've had direct markets and we've had farmers markets. So one of the important things is that contribution, but a lot of times they tend to be so grassroots, and they're not particularly organized professionally, that we don't know a lot about what's happening in those markets. So what I did in order to get ready for this panel today was that I asked our farmers, 4 young farmers that we have in our system, I asked them a series of questions. And I'm going to take you through, the stats and the answers to that questions, but I asked them who owned the farm, and if they didn't own the farm, or who owned the farm, and then if they owned the farm, how they bought it. I asked them what they sold when they started, what they sold after they've been in the market system for a period of time. I asked them, what was important about the experience for them in terms of learning how to grow. I asked them what was the difference between their initial sales when they entered the system and the current sales. So I have statistics on that. And then what they really wanted me to tell you as an audience about their experience. So I'm going to give you just a little bit of background on us, and then we'll go on. This is the famous chart from USDA. When I did a keynote in Iowa years ago, I said one way I knew that the world was changing is that USDA started counting how many farmers markets there were. And there's a huge growth, but obviously you start counting when something seems to be important. Here we are, this is the way we think about our markets. We're in the Mid-Atlantic region. Our markets, we think about our farmers and our markets as in the Chesapeake Bay watershed. It's the largest estuary in the whole world. It's huge, beautiful, and very sort of endangered bay. And so our farmers farm upstream from this bay. We have, in our farmer pool, we have 5 out of the 6 states that are in the Chesapeake Bay watershed. So we have Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, Delaware, and Virginia. Did I say Pennsylvania? So everything but New York. We started in 1997 with DuPont Circle. That continues to be our most important. It contributes over 50% to the bottom line of our farmer sales. Second market is in St. Michaels, Maryland. That's on the eastern shore of Maryland. That was founded in the following year, '98, and it has a seasonal season, so it's April to October, and it's in a tiny little town which is about 1,000 people in the full sort of height of summer. So it's always going to be a small market. We get about, if we get 200 people a day, that's good. We typically get about 180. We count, so one of the reasons why I can tell you these numbers is we count our customers when they come into the market. In 2003, we founded 2 markets, and Penn Quarter was one of the 2. The other one was in Georgetown, and this was something we did with Gus. And unfortunately, that market just didn't thrive too well, so 2 years later we closed it. But Penn Quarter has thrived. We closed the street. That building that you see above the lilacs is the archives, and that happens to be where the central market of the city used to be. That's where all the fruits and vegetables were sold for 200 years. So we like being back, bringing back fruits and vegetables to the center of Washington, D.C. 8th Street Northeast, that's it's a neighborhood and a lower income market. We have used the Double Dollar program in that market this year and had a wonderful response to that, and we've added an Amish farmer who sells meat, and we had a nice growth. Foggy Bottom is right next to the GW Hospital and Medical School, and on the right next to the GW campus, and small Wednesday market. Silver Spring, I talked about, that's now gone year-round. That's a Saturday market. We had 43% growth in our customers in that market last year. We opened Annapolis in 2008, so this will be our 3rd year. That market, we had the strongest opening we've ever had last year. We were sort of flat, but it's right at the bottom of Main Street. And then our last market that we opened last year was by the White House. That's on a closed street on Vermont Avenue, and First Lady was there. It was only open for 7 days, and we set records. Our average population that was at that market, it's on a Thursday afternoon from 3 to 7, was 1,400 people a day. So that just broke every record for a midweek market we had ever had. Here are some measures of success. If you look at the number of markets, we started with 1 in 97. In 2009, we have 9. The numbers of farmers and producers, we started with 15, and we now have 89. That is, all these stats are as 2009. The number of market days went from 21 to 158. That's the combined market days. The acres farmed, I think this is a very good thing for markets to keep track of. That's simply by collecting information on our producers. The original acres were a little over 1,000, and they went up last year up to 8,000. The number of customers went from 21 to 314,000. And the farmer-producer sales went from $265,000. Last year we set a new record, $6.7 million of farmer and producer sales. How do we know these? Because, as I said, we count our customers, and we also have a percentage fee to our farmers. So we charge them 6%. So we can track the sales. And we think this is a really good idea to do because, as you say, farming is a business, well, so are markets. And you can't possibly know how your market's doing unless you know how your farmers and producers are doing. So here I'm going to tell you 4 stories. The first one is about Gunpowder Bison and Trading Company, and they're in Moncton, Maryland. and they sell licenses. Here are the owners, Angela and Trey Lewis. Here is a picture of the